concerns you have about
World War III.
For Russian
This is what's
personnel,
going on now.
military personnel on the ground.
Well, I imagine they were not the ones targeted. But again, if the Russians are there on the ground assisting Assad in the commission of these heinous crimes, war crimes, they should answer for that. And they certainly have put themselves into harm's way. The second point that I would make with regards to all of this is the absurdity of the Russian position. I mean, with a straight face, they are arguing that these chemical weapons are actually because of the rebels, which is absurd. And the third point is, Russia should be embarrassed and ashamed. They are the ones that are telling the world that there were no nerve agents, that there were no chemical weapons left. We know that for the better part of this year, Assad has been using chlorine bombs against the innocent civilians and population centers. And now yesterday, a couple days ago, a nerve agent, sarin. And so the Russians have been covering for Assad. And if it were not for the Russians, Assad would not still be in power. And if it were not for the Russians, Assad would not have the capability, and much less the gall, to conduct the sort of attack that we saw just a couple days ago. So they have no standing to say anything about this.
As far as you understand, is it still U.S. policy? Is it the policy of the Trump administration that Bashar al-Assad must go? Because as you know, last week, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said that it's really up to the Syrian people to decide what happens to Assad.
Well, again, I would leave it to the White House to tell you what their policy is. I can tell you two things. Number one, I am convinced, and I know the president was deeply impacted by the images and the news and the reports that he got from what happened there. I think he acknowledged as much. No matter how you may feel about the president, I know there are people out there that don't support the president, but if you watched yesterday when he was standing next to the king as he spoke about it, that was real. That was not a politician up there talking. That was a real person who had just seen and heard and been briefed on this horrifying attack, and it clearly impacted him. I think you saw it again today. And I would say that I'll let them speak for their policy, but tonight's actions show that the days of being able to act with impunity are over when it comes to Bashar al-Assad, and that there is now an American president prepared to do what it takes to ensure that he does not have the capability, or that his capability to conduct these sorts of heinous war crimes is diminished, and that he's
We're at war,
accountable.
as you see.
Senator Marco Rubio, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to go next to CNET Jeff Zeleny, who's outside of Mar-a-Lago. The president is. Jeff, what are you hearing tonight?
Anderson, I am told that President Trump will be addressing the nation at some point coming up shortly about these strikes on Syria. Now, he met with his national security advisors, his national security team,
we gotta go.
shortly after arriving here on the ground in Florida.